Welcome to Grand Rapids Community College and the DeVos campus. It is indeed an exciting day for us here at Grand Rapids Community College, and we're thrilled that you could all join us. You know, we are so fortunate here at Grand Rapids Community College to have exceptional leadership. We have a board of trustees that guide us, and we have a foundation board of directors who serve us so faithfully and so well. And so I'd like to invite the board of trustees and our foundation board, if you would be kind enough to stand so we can recognize you for your leadership. Thank you for all you do for our college, for our students, and our community. It's my privilege now to introduce to you a man you all know well, our president, Dr. Steve Ender. Steve?
Welcome, everyone. It's great to see everyone here to help us as we, actually, in my mind when I was thinking about this, we're here to celebrate and to honor, and celebrate and honor people, buildings, and success. When I came to the college, and I've told this story a million times, I start one day and the next day they had me out there on a capital campaign. You know, it's the stuff they don't tell you during the interview, right? And, you know, to be successful with that campaign, it was really important for us to reach out to folks in the community that, because they believe in something, members of our community are, in fact, more likely to embrace the effort, whatever it might be. And we tossed around a lot of names, and I had been here long enough to know exactly who I would have loved to have had as our honorary chair people for this campaign. And when we talked about that, it was like, well, maybe, it's going to be hard, you know. It wasn't hard at all. It wasn't hard at all. We reached out to Hank Meyer, to Doug DeVos, and to Fred Keller, and not one of those gentlemen hesitated in saying, we'd be delighted and honored to help this community college as you move forward to kick off this capital campaign. And we're sorry, we worked really hard to make sure that all of our honorary chairs could be here tonight, and that's not easy given the calendars of these three gentlemen. And it's turned out that where they were able to at some point, we now have situations of some family concerns, and then something came up for Doug that he just could not get out of late afternoon, so they couldn't be here. But Hank is here, and Hank, I'd like you to come up if you would. And this is for you, for your dedication and leadership with this capital campaign. We are very, very grateful for your leadership.
Thank you very much.
We'll see and hear a little bit more from Hank before we conclude today. So we kick this off, and you know how this goes. You find folks that you believe if we can have them as part of our effort, that's going to help us. But then you need people on the ground floor that's going to really push the envelope and press the flesh, if you will. And we thought about who should be our chair, working chair of the campaign. Again, I reached out to an alum, Dr. Jim Bezzetta, and I will tell you, Jim and David Custer, who I'll speak about in just a second, and Andy and myself became, and Tom Monahan, some of my new best friends. I mean, Jim Bezzetta was a real stalwart when it came to leadership and helping us really run with this campaign. And then the last person I want to recognize before we go on with the program would be our foundation chair, David Custer. And David, I'll tell you, David's love for this institution is like nothing that I've ever seen, and I mean that very sincerely. His willingness to be there, get it done, push the envelope, kick you in the pants if he doesn't like the way it's going, you know, tell you a good job when he loves the way it's going. David has always been with me and with Andy and with the leadership team as we've pushed this campaign forward. And David, if you would, I would like you to come up so we could recognize you for that work. And he truly deserves that rich and warm applause. We're going to bring him back up because the campaign needs folks at the very top of the pyramid and then needs folks at the next level. And then without the actual leaders of the various divisions of a campaign, it just isn't going to come together. And Dave, if you'd come forward and talk a little bit about that effort.
Sure, thanks. As Steve said, obviously we need good campaign leadership, and we were so blessed to have Doug, Fred, and Hank for that. I mean, what better names could you get in the community to extol the attributes of the community college and help raise money, and just having their names and having them make a few key calls was just critical to us. So we do thank them for that. But you need a lot of troops and sergeants under them, and you need people that are willing to take on leadership roles, to make calls, to follow up with other volunteers, people that are working on the campaign. And those people are called divisional chairs, and they really are the feet and the arms of the campaign. And so we'd like to thank them. Many of them are here, some of them at least are here today. And if they're here, I'm going to ask you to come up, and we'll acknowledge and recognize them en masse when they're all here. First of all, covering the athletics portion of the school, Carl Paganelli. The family portion, which is all the staff and the people at the school, was Robert Long, Nikki Banks, and Paula Sullivan. Now, if you're here, come on up. Don't be shy. Major gifts was David Bottrell. I know David's here. I saw him. The community division was John Boldema and Peter Perez. Peter's in Washington. I saw John last night at an event, and unfortunately, he was not able to make it today. And the alumni division, which is a very key and important division, was headed by the past president of the Board of Trustees, Gary Shank, and Gary is out of town today as well. So we thank all of you and would like to present a gift to you as well. Robert's not here. Nikki Banks. There you go, Nikki. Thank you. Paula Sullivan. Thank you so much, Paula. David? There you are. You were kind of hyped back there. Thank you. And Andy will have to get one more, I think.
What do we have?
Oh, Carol. You were too close to me, Carol. First one up, standing right next to me. Who knows? We have many other volunteers that helped us, and we want to thank all of you for your dedication. You know, hundreds of calls were made to raise this money, and you know, just a few team leaders can't do it. We need all these people to help us with that. So we thank all of that. Excuse me. We've had one person that I've been on the foundation for, I'm not sure, but I think it's 20-some years. And we've had one person that has helped us throughout those 20 years. He's an experienced fundraiser. He's just been a tremendous help. Steve mentioned that Jim Bezzetta, Steve and I, and Tom Monahan would get together probably every couple of months. And Tom really drove us and gave us wisdom and guidance on what to do. And I'd like to acknowledge Tom and have him come up here. And finally, as you know, there's a lot of backroom things that have to be done, and this is a good time to thank all of the staff of the foundation, that all the administrative people, the people that are behind the scenes, but we couldn't do it without you. So if you're staff, raise your hand. Come on, Aaron, Andy. We thank you. Okay, I'm going to turn it back to Steve.
Thank you, David. And I'd like to talk a little bit now about what this campaign is we've been able to do. You know, as campaigns move forward and you think you have projects, and then you find that perhaps you have other projects that are very important, and then you start wondering how you're going to find the money to get it all done. As we got involved with now the DeVos campus, and we knew that we wanted to really utilize this campus for the growth that we were having, we started to think that the Warren Hall, the facility that you're in today, could perhaps be a wonderful facility for our faculty who would then be teaching right next door in the Sneeden Hall, rather than offices down on the main campus and coming back and forth. And that was, when you looked at this building 12 months ago, that was completely out of the question. You know, there was no one in their right mind was going to move into this building, quite frankly, at least not our folks. So a little bit about the home that you're in and how we have transformed this home. This home was built in 1907 by Stewart White, who was a lumber baron and financier in Grand Rapids. He and his family lived here for several years before donating it to the Grand Rapids Furniture Museum. So in 1935, this became the Furniture Museum for Grand Rapids. In 1959, Don, perhaps a little bit before your time, right? Davenport bought the facility, and then it was used for student residence and for faculty offices. And then, of course, when we acquired this property in 2009 and began to really think about how we could use these wonderful facilities, we began to focus in on the Sneeden Hall and the Warren Hall as far as major renovation work that we wanted to do. Today, this building now houses 3 strong, robust academic programs, the faculty in our social sciences, psychology, and our criminal justice program, serving about 2,600 students right next door in Sneeden. And so we had a little renovation project we had to do. 10-month project. We had some marvelous partners in this project. And they had a job that failure wasn't an option, but I couldn't figure out how they were going to be successful, quite frankly, as this rolled along. I'd like to introduce some folks that real principals with us on this particular building. Architectural firm of Progressive, Brad Thomas is with us, Robert Ferguson is with us, and perhaps some others from Progressive are here. But they understood when we said we want a historical renovation, what that meant, and they looked at the building and they really understood what that meant. I think they have just done a fabulous job. And then on the construction side, Rockford Construction and Pride Building Group teamed on this project. Again, these guys lived here for the last 10 months, and for the last 2 or 3 months, they may have slept here, for all I know. Tom, or Robert, I'm sorry, I've got people's names written all over my notes. I know Tom McGovern is here from Rockford. Terrell Daniels is here. Robert Ferguson is here. These guys just really, when I went away for vacation the last week of July, the first week of August, with a hard date that our faculty are moving in the second week of August, I didn't see any way that that possibly could happen. And in fact, it did happen. Failure was not an option. These guys kept telling me failure is not an option, and they came through for us. And then internally, yeah, they just... internally, we had a team working with all these folks. And where's Scott Martin? See, I saw him. Where is Scott? Well, see, Scott had hair before this all started. And Scott used to sleep at night, and he doesn't do that anymore. Scott's world has been turned upside down with this project. But Scott, you and Tom Smith standing beside him, again, a marvelous effort, tremendous dedication to our institution for our students, and we are all grateful for your efforts with this work. Thank you very much. So, we have this beautiful, now, academic home built by Mr. White. And we had a family, the Meyer family, who had been just lead donor is not the best way to describe their contributions and their commitment. But without the Meyers, we probably would have had a lot of trouble doing this work in here. And so we wanted to do something to really honor the family. And Hank started kicking around, well, that's real nice, but tell me a little bit about the building and what do we know about the White family? And then I think Hank brought to me, hey, Steve, did you know that one of the sons was in fact a pretty prolific writer? There is more than a warm spot in Hank Meyer's heart for writing when he has time. But in fact, he came to us and said, we don't need to have the building named after the Meyers. Let's name it after this writer. And so today, it is an honor for me to honor the Meyer family by naming this facility the Stewart Edward White Hall. Hank, some comments?
Thank you, Steve. And there is a lot of history in this room and in this home. And I'm not talking just about Don Main and Elias Lumpkins and Tom Monahan, but about, and I say that tongue in cheek, and yet I'm naming people who have given heart and soul to education in this community for a couple of generations. And in the case of Tom, I think we worked on our first project together about 25 years ago and have helped build a lot of institutions in this community. But it became kind of irresistible as Steve and Andy and I and others were talking about this project, not to recognize that this historic campus that's now a part of a very historic community college has some other interest and meaning as well. And this fellow named Stewart Edward White, I've only read one of his books, Dave was just asking me, called The Riverman. And it's not the greatest literature in the world, but it's about logging in Grand Rapids at the turn of the century and the great log jam that was here in the late 19th century when logs were backed up for miles and knocked out bridges. And he was a true adventurer. He went to Central High School, wrote his first book about the birds of Mackinac Island that was published, I think, when he was 18 or 19 years old, and then went to the University of Michigan, and then later went out west and sort of in the tradition of Zane Grey and some of the great Western authors wrote some of the early adventure books about the wilderness. And actually, I think, and I'm going to embark on a little campaign to make sure we get a historical marker about him out in front. But when we have this opportunity as an institution to convey a sense of the past and of the richness of our community, it seemed irresistible not to recognize an author who grew up right in this building. And so, Steve, I'm so glad we could work that out. And on behalf of our family, we're delighted to be able to work that out. So thank you all. Thank you.
So just talk a bit about how we've done. we are wrapping up a capital campaign tonight. Fundraising never stops, but we are wrapping up a capital campaign tonight. And we came into this with some goals. We thought that let's try to raise 12 million. Anything over that's going to really be a bonus. Let's call the spread 12 to 15, and we feel like we should be able to get 12, but who knows how close we'll get to 15. The capital campaign has allowed us now, with the progress we've made and the dollars that we have raised, complete renovation of the arena and the field house, a beautiful now living room for us, because that is a front door facility, and it's so nice to be proud of that facility, the Gordon Huntsberger Arena. We will move to Cook Hall. The first floor has been done. The capital campaign will allow us to finish the renovation of that building, to really have first-class learning environments for 21st century students. Capital campaign has allowed us to completely renovate now the White Hall for our faculty's home. It has allowed us to renovate Sneeden Hall, to put in, again, 21st century classrooms. The things that we've been able to do as a result of the generosity of this community could not have been done with the college's budget. In fact, the budget was not there, is not there. And so you're out there raising money in a pretty severe recession. Folks stepped up in ways that were unimaginable to me. I am so proud and grateful to this community. We have raised now $15,277,779. I always try to get my head around those numbers. It's like, well, how much is $1 million? If I have 10,000 and I have then 100,000, then I've got to have 10 times 100,000, and we have 15 times all of that people have given and trusted our institution to use in ways that will make us all a better community. And in fact, when you give to this community college, you are making an investment in our community and in this region. So the formal campaign is completed. We will be raising money. We want to finish the main building. And right now, we believe if the state comes through on the $5 million that has been approved, if we get it, that then frees up $5 million of our capital money. It allows us to go to Maine and do of a $10 million initial project, at least $6 million of that. If they don't, then we're going to need to raise more, because in fact, we'd like to do a $20 million project there. We want to not only replace windows and boilers for $7.5 million, we would like to replace classrooms and build classrooms that are responsive to a 21st century learner. I mean, that is what we need to do across our campus. We have one of the finest community college music programs in a community college setting you will find anywhere in the country, one of the very few that is accredited. And I'm embarrassed to take you for a tour of that building. We need to renovate completely our music building for a minimum of $6 million. We have an accredited, certified early childhood education preschool program that every night they finish, they pack up all their stuff and put it in closets and come back in the next day. And the church has been wonderful to let us use their space, but it's completely inappropriate, completely. It's about a $1.6 million project. We're going to move forward and figure out a way to do those projects. Our students deserve that. Our faculty deserves that. I go into the high school facilities and I look at them, and then I come back to our community college, the educational entity for our entire community, and I go, wonder what those students think when they walk out of their high school and they come down to the community college. it's not quite as uplifting as you feel when you walk through those high school buildings, quite frankly. And I truly believe that when you offer people quality environments, students, faculty, and staff, it lifts expectations. There is an expectation that I need to perform in a qualitative way as we're in this qualitative environment. So you haven't heard the last of me. I will tell you that. And we will continue to press on to find ways to fund what I think are important projects to really then enhance and affect the learning process of the students that come to Grand Rapids Community College. Over 33,100 this semester. Think about that number, 33,100 students engaged in some way with this community college. So, there is great food. There are tours, and I really hope, I wish we had in every room pictures of not only what it looked like before, but what it looked like less than a month ago, quite frankly, for you to truly appreciate what these people have done to transform this White Hall into a gorgeous and I think example of what communities can do when they come together and set some goals and decide we're going to be successful. This is a marvelous example of this community that we live in. Thank you very much, and I really do encourage you to take a good look at this building while you're here. There's food, I know, so have fun. Thank you.